We reached the seaside village of Taflon and found out the ocean was filled with giant whirlpools. So much for swimming. We also met a nice girl named Sarah. The villagers treat her like an outcast. I wish they were kinder to her. She has a gentle soul.
Sarah says Jimny is a quiet creature, but anyone would be considered quiet compared to that chatterbox Mokona. The thing just won't shut up. Anyway, the villagers treat Sarah badly, but I'm not sure why. I think maybe they're just frightened of any outsiders in this dangerous time.
I wonder if it's really necessary to visit the iceberg to find our machines. Being that I cannot swim to save my life, I'm a little apprehensive about it. Well, actually, I'm terrified. Maybe I'll take 2 life vests.
We found a man named Caltus, who is supposed to be a master of powerful swimming techniques. But he was in some kind of funk and wouldn't teach us anything. Pooh. I hope he snaps out of it soon, so he can teach us what we need to know to avoid the whirlpools.
Oh my god. What kind of freak is this Caltus guy we just met? I mean, we all have baggage, but this guy is an emotional wasteland. He makes Morrissey seem cheerful. Besides, Sarah has already gotten over the past, so why can't he? I'm sorry, I just have to say it. What a crybaby.
We found a man named Caltus who was depressed quite severely. It seems that he couldn't save a pet that Sarah used to have. Umi was not very understanding and kind of blew up. I thought she overreacted, but I really didn't know what to say. Sometimes I feel so weak.
Caltus seemed to have regained some cheer. He even taught us how to swim well enough to avoid the whirlpools. We can at last press onto the iceberg where the machines are said to be. I hope we're almost done. This quest is exciting, but I want to go home.
Shock of shocks, Caltus changed his tune and brightened up. Actually, when he's cheerful, he's a pretty cool guy. Perhaps I was a little hard on him at first.
I'm completely humiliated. Hikaru and Umi have already mastered Caltus' new swimming technique, but not me, no. I have to use a stupid little float. It's kind of fun to use, but it makes me feel like a baby. Oh well, no time to whine, I suppose. Onward and upward.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Magic Knight Rayearth. Welcome to the sea, where swimming is a bit of a doozy because we have to battle some whirlpools. If you remember from the lecture that Clef and Precia gave last video, swimming is pressing the attack button repeatedly in order to move forward, which is pretty much button mashing, and when you're battling whirlpools like this, it can be a little bit tricky when you have to button mash a little bit harder than you really want to. If you can get in the right groove in terms of path, you can be really straight and get through to the island in the center very easily. But chances are you're going to be battling and just kind of going in the current that the whirlpool is going to go and make you take, which is not really that great. But once you battle that, you enter the next dungeon, known as the Eternal Ice Cave, with some really nice music, to be honest. And now we can actually get back into some combat with, ogres? Cyclops? Cyclops, I guess, because they only have one eye. The only thing is that, well, they pack a punch. As you can see from, well, back there, I took half my health. At this point in the game, if you haven't, like, stacked heart jewels into just one character instead of doing it evenly, well, those Cyclops can take you down in 2 hits. Any of your characters, really. Which is kinda no fun. There's also a lot of different enemies. Some you can't kill, like those electric orb kind of things. The dolphin sharks in the water you can kill, the flower things, and the cyclops. But we're kind of in the way, so that's why I'm actually asking Clef to see if he has anything. Well, Hikaru should be able to help. There we go. This is also a point where if you kind of love using magic like crazy, it is a place where your magic will replenish itself slowly over time, just enough in order to give Hikaru one shot of magic in order to get rid of the icicles in the way. Only certain icicles melt, and you'll pretty much be able to tell which of them they are. Taking down the Cyclopses, though, I find that Umi is the best suited to do them quickly because she seems to be able to do the most damage out of all of them, even though Hikaru's weapon has been upgraded. It's just slightly stronger. Over here, swimming over is, well, another chest with more gems. I think I called them crystals last time, because I love screwing up those. The currents actually aren't too bad either. If you're a good button masher, then you should be fine. Okay. Don't get in the path of these dolphin sharks either, because, well, if they do, then you'll be overtaken very badly. They also don't even give anything because they're in the water. Now, the Eternal Ice Cave, I kind of feel that this looks like a giant sea urchin. A frozen one, anyways. It's, well, compared to the other dungeon that we've done, which is the Attempting Cave, I kind of preferred this one better. Or, not this one, the other one. The Attempting Cave a little bit better, because it had a little bit more personality to it. This one has the whole mysterious thing in the outskirts and the sea, and it's kind of nice in terms of the aesthetic, but I kind of like the personality of the Tempting Cave more, in terms of Lucino's traps and whatnot. So in terms of Hikaru's weapon being upgraded, you get a little bit more reach to Hikaru's weapon, as well as her charge attack is a little bit stronger and has more reach to it as well. Hello. Stabbing them is not really that helpful. That's why Fu's homing arrows are just like almost a crutch, I would say. I also have to make sure that people are getting the right items that are dropped from enemies. Like, it's kind of annoying when you're picking up drops from enemies and realizing that no, they won't go to the people who actually need them. Now, simply exploring around, we get to this open area here, and a bunch of icicles and a door. We can't do anything here yet, so we're gonna have to backtrack and go elsewhere, but while we're doing that, we might as well talk about the Super Nintendo version, because we haven't for a while. That's because there's a lot between in the Sega Saturn version. One thing is that once you get the weapons from Prisia, then you just head all the way to the south. Makona makes a car for you, you land into the ocean, underwater, and then you go through the water dungeon, which is not really all that impressive, to be honest. It's just kind of there, you go through a bunch of places, and it's pretty much just for level up purposes. To be honest, I kind of say that the dungeons, other than what they kind of look like, are not really that special. And now we have a mirror. Of course, blocked by Hikaru's fire. Or ice that must be melted by Hikaru's fire. So it must mean that it's for her, right? Ta-da! And now we have her second magic, Flaming Shock. Much like Fu's second magic, it's a screen-encompassing magic, and we'll be able to use it once for this dungeon, which of course is going to be back where that door was. Except I do want to get rid of these guys first. But where did you come from? They scuttle so fast, but still do no damage. Alright. With this, Flaming Shock time! The magic hits everything on screen for a good amount of damage, to be honest. And then we get to these cool guys. Look at them. They spin. So crazy. And linear magic like the first spells are not going to be able to hit very well. Ow, that hurt. Okay, Umi's out. Which is not that bad because she's not essential to this, but we did lose our base powerhouse anyways. And if that ever happens, well, you can always back up on Fu, get some range, and take these guys out really quickly. But anyway, with the Super Nintendo version, in terms of the dungeons that go on, I kind of need to be said with comparing the two versions that, well, there's going to be a lot of time between comparing the base dungeons of the game, of the Super Nintendo, with Sega Saturn, because, well, there's a lot more in the Sega Saturn version, to be honest. The Super Nintendo version is very, shall we say, it follows a simple formula. It's very linear, it just goes dungeon to dungeon to dungeon, and that's it. Whereas this one kind of makes the worlds a lot bigger, a lot more vibrant, and more alive, I should say, in terms of having a lot more interaction with it. Which is, ow, good. Jesus. It's one little gem, I just want it. Alright, we can't get across really these spikes very well, so shooting it with Fu is always a good thing. Stop floating around so silly, Umi. If you're wondering how to actually revive fallen party members, there's two ways you can go about it. One is finding a healing fountain, which usually is in each dungeon. Ow. The you can't use magic noise is kind of annoying when you're just like kind of hear it. And to me this is honestly a weird room because it's filled with the little bug guys. All different colors, which really I don't believe have any kind of significance. If they do, it's like one gives out more health, one gives out more magic. Even though yeah, it's not the case. It's not even color-coded, so other than they just wanted to make these guys more colorful, I suppose. But the other way of reviving fallen party members is through using health potions. It's pretty much the same as Fu's Healing Wind, except for that it can revive fallen party members, which Fu's Healing Wind cannot. Hey, I'm pushing the thing, please, thank you. Also, there's weird pushing ice blocks puzzles in this dungeon, which I never understand why they need to be here, but especially when they're incredibly easy to do. But with that, there's not a lot left to this dungeon. It's pretty short, pretty simplistic. And here's our healing fountain, so now Fu's back in the game. Or Umi, anyways. Alright. I doubt Clef has anything else to say. Nope, okay. Yeah, I did that. I solved bunches of problems. 3 to be exact. But now we can get into something that's a little bit, well, difficult in terms of comparing the two versions. And it's going to be involving falling down into a pit like so. Hey, what's up, Giant Dragon? This game seems to be a lot more abrupt, getting to the point of the machines and the temples where they reside, whereas the Super Nintendo version is a little bit more formal about it. Good comparison between them, yeah? Incredibly powerful magical beast. But it is our machine that we are looking for. Say hello to Ceres. Or Ceres. And he is an awesome dragon. And it's for Umi! Now I can actually talk about entering the temple in the Super Nintendo version, which is actually more formal. And for each temple, the girl corresponding to the temple disappears into it, and then we have to follow after her. And I will say that the sprite work on the machines for the Super Nintendo version is really, really cool. And of course, there's always a trial in order to get the machine to come over to the Magic Knight side, because, well, we're coming to him pretty much not prepared to be a Magic Knight, really. We must prove ourselves. Clef's pretty much saying that, well, we can't prove ourselves right now because we are not a Magic Knight at all. But we can prove ourselves enough for that we can fully resurrect the machine later. Huh. Well, so much for the entire ice cave. Oh. And now it's finally time for him to show his true colors. Say hello to Ascot. I like that he's pretty much just straightforward in the Super Nintendo version. Just sends out guys, says I'm here to destroy you. It's pretty much just out for one goal and one goal only. Unfortunately, it's going to involve, well, Jiminy. He's got the shakes! Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh no, he's gotten Super Pixel. Yeah. Jiminy is a monster. He has completely smashed the house to pieces, but he honestly looks pretty cool, to be honest. We haven't seen a monster design like that since the very beginning of the game. It's a little bit bittersweet. If you do remember about Ascot, he doesn't fight directly. He summons friends, such as the spider in the Tempting Cave, and now Jiminy. Well, I guess that Ascot has something to do with that. It's either twisting him or pretty much speeding up his final form anyways, but here is our boss, Jiminy. First time through, he's a little bit of a difficult one because, well, you're dealing with a smaller area, and going into the water is not really going to help you in terms of actually fighting him. He mainly has two attacks, which is jumping up into the air and trying to just kind of go against you and bounce, and crush you with ice. And it's, well, he covers a bigger area than you might expect. The other one that you saw was him curling up into a ball, and then making a wide circle in order to try and get to you. The Super Nintendo boss fight is actually a lot easier than this, even though you're one-on-one with Umi. Simply because you have a lot more magic at your disposal like that. I would usually show a boss fight on its own, but it's kind of not that special. Especially when later on in the game, those monsters become regular enemies. Because, you know, like you do. In terms of Jiminy, fighting him head-on is a little bit risky. If it's the first time through, you're most likely going to be playing as Fu just for the safety's sake. And then you're going to be using the other two girls as sponges for hits. Just quickly switch between them if you think you're going to be hit. And just handle it like that. Ow. But then again, Umi is the powerhouse of the group, so charging her weapon is definitely going to do the most damage, and take him down swiftly, too. Down he goes. You know. And then we're over here for some reason. Okay, now we're fine. It's really a shame. He was so cute. Of course, it's hard for Hikaru because, well, killing your pet? It's just like thinking that Hikaru can kill her dog, Flash. And how can you do that to such a poor, innocent monster? It was also all that Sarah had. She is going to be crushed again. Apparently Ascot has never been talked to that way. Which is really true in both the show and the other game.
I'm so sorry. We really did try our best to save your...
It's the worst deja vu. And really, letting Ascot go is kind of understandable, because without something by his side, he's really not much of a threat, to be honest. He's a summoner. It's time to press forward. It's a what? Surprise! I'm just imagining him just like, hey, what's up? But we've done it! Enough for him to just kind of point his face at us.
My, Ascot. Pity that you've returned a failure.
Enova, wait!
Caldina?
I think I've earned a shot at doing away with those 3 brats. And then, after I return victorious, we can talk about Ascot.
It would please me if you were to end this circus. You're free to try.
You won't be disappointed.
Caldina!
We did it! It's been done! We have our first machine! And it doesn't look like it actually helped upgrade Umi whatsoever. She did not get a weapon upgrade, she did not get any sort of... We didn't even get any health or magic upgrades in order to get the first machine. But, as Fu says in the Super Nintendo version, we saw something very neat. She has some great lines in that game. But now, we're done with the sea. So now we can actually head on, and we're about a third of the way through for being considered full Magic Knights. It was certainly heavy in order to actually get Ceres. And now what are we actually going to be doing about Sarah's house? Geez, she has no parents, no pet, no home. I guess she could live with Caltus, I guess. If, you know, he would actually clean. But I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But yeah, if we look up here, let's check out the damage. Yeah, there's a lot of it. Yeah, I did. That probably should have tore this village apart because it was poking our head right in our face. There's something weirdly hilarious about it. But, as we can see from the horizon, the sea has calmed. But the island is, well, not really there anymore. It's mostly just a sheet of ice. Everything's not crystal and wonderful perfect, though, because there's still apparently no fishing in the village. Well, we can only help so much, I suppose. And in terms of where to go next, this woman helps us out. Crossing the sea, we can get to the next village. Apparently she did it a bunch of times, but we didn't talk to her then. It's like she would swim there all the time, because apparently boats don't work. I don't know, man. That is something the village will have to figure out for themselves. We have a princess to save. But we can't do that without the other 2 machines, though. So, well, our next destination would be across the sea. Or at least around the sea a little bit. Around the coast. And she doesn't have anybody anymore, so she needs you, Caltus. That's right. Now you offer her your house and get cleaning. You supposedly adult. Come on. But we can't deal with housekeeping and villages and fishing. We have to swim back into the sea and head on to the next village. What'll it be like? Oh, we're not sure yet. But we'll see soon enough. I don't know what the T-pose of swimming is supposed to be, but we'll stop that soon enough as we head on to the next village. See you next time, everyone.